So a lot of you guys know Seth. He had the EK hatch that we've been putting a whole bunch of different motors in. Well, he ended up trading the car for this Integra. I think it was a good choice. What do you think?
I think it's pretty clean.
For real. No rust. And it's clean under here too. That's a come up, dude. This thing looks great.
That luxury.
Luxury, yeah. Acura, baby. Luxury.
We got the remote for the car too.
Remote? What?
Unlock and lock remote.
That's super cool. Since Seth just picked this car up, he figured it'd be a good idea to change the oil and basically just give the car an entire look over, since it's all unknown at this time. While he's starting to do his oil change, I'm going to start with fixing the fitment on my front end here. It started sagging over the years and I just haven't had the chance to readjust all of this, and the fender somehow bowed out. So hopefully we can fix all that. Also, I need to put the skirts back on it because it looks so bad without skirts. Now it's an S14. So I was wondering why this was so popped out over here, and I noticed that this support here is bent. So I'm wondering if someone backed into the car at some point. There's also a scuff mark right here. Huh, didn't notice that either. This is how the tabs are supposed to look, and the side that got smashed is completely folded back. Let's make some adjustments and make it look good again. The support is pretty cool because it's adjustable. You just loosen up these 4 mounting bolts and you can slide the entire thing up or down. So these tabs fit into these little circles here on the fender, giving it perfect fitment. I'm going to mount this lip a little better. It's not too tight on there.
Flash it. Yeah.
Dang, that's dark. Oh, got to pop these.
He said, oh, you have to pop these.
Pop these. Since this bumper was sagging probably about 1/2 inch, that's about how high I'm going to raise it. And I'll just tighten it down there, and it's that simple. I know the S13 doesn't really have anything adjustable on it, but it's pretty clever that this does. We've secured the lip with a few more bolts and nuts. That should hold a lot better now, considering before there was just a couple zip ties. This side looks perfect now, but there's still a little bit of sag on this side, so I'm gonna take it off and raise it again. Oh yeah, much better. Sick. That fitment looks so good. Much better. Now we just got to put the grill back on and call it a day. At least in the front end. It looks a million times better. Hey! It lives.
Brand new oil change.
First mod, oil. One strange thing that we found about Seth's car is the wiper arms were painted like teal. It's kind of weird. Yeah, even the rear. So we're gonna paint those black now.
With some rubberized paintable paint.
Man, this car looks so good. But I need to start looking at putting my side skirts back on. And I have collected a bunch of these throughout the years because they're kind of known to fly off if you don't have all the clips for them. So luckily I have a little stash up here. Hopefully these are for Integras. Oh. Fitment and skirts make the biggest difference. It looks a lot less clapped now, so that's good. It's so cold out here that Seth has a heat gun on his wiper arm so they dry already.
Because they were that nasty teal.
It's been taking forever, but we're getting it done. Sunset looks absolutely beautiful. I have my Hot Wheels here, and I figured since he has an Integra now, it is time for him to have an Integra Hot Wheels. Most of these are just S chassis or Skylines in this box. So as you guys may have seen recently, the garage has become quite a mess throughout the 240 rebuild series in here. So I figured it was time for some garage upgrades and garage cleaning. I spent the last couple days taking everything out of the garage and separating all the parts and pieces into piles, deciding whether to keep or toss or give away or sell or whatever, and sweeping the garage out and making it look really nice. Because now that it's winter, I'm most likely going to be working most of the time with the garage door closed. So I'm going to need to utilize the space I have in the garage smarter. Well, I just finished cleaning up the garage and there is so much more space in here. It's insane. And the only thing that's not in the garage right now is the quarter panel and the hoist. So I'm wondering to myself, what all did I move? Like, how do I have this much more space now? This is going to be so nice. I guess it just shows organizing your stuff every once in a while helps a lot. It's not always the most fun thing to do, but hey, a clean workspace helps your mind be productive. I think I'm actually going to turn the car around. I like it better backed in. So the garage's very first upgrade. I'll close the garage door so you get the full effect. Lights. Oh, I love good lighting. Check these two super bright lights out. Heck yeah. And I have those two other ones that I had before. And secondly, this brings us to today's video sponsor, VEVOR Tools. They sent me this super cool chair. It's like a racing seat, bucket seat. I've always wanted one of these rolly chairs. And also this workstation. So I have this cool little rolly work cart that I can use to fabricate some more stuff on instead of working on the ground like I have for this entire series. They offer a vast majority of tooling and accessories for DIYers like me or anyone that has their own garage space that's doing their own projects for a reasonable price. So this cart alone is going to help me tremendously because of all the work I do. And this racing seat is going to help me not break my back while working on the car. Because now I can do it comfortably. Now there have been quite a few people DMing me and commenting about what welder to use, like as a startup. So this is the VEVOR website. You just go up here, type in welder. And look at all of these options. And there's some really affordable options as well. It includes MIG. There's so many tools on this website for such a great deal. I might actually look into getting a TIG welder here soon because I'd like to start learning how to weld onto aluminum. Use this code right here to get 5% off site-wide. Get yourself some more tooling for your garage or maybe even a welder if that's what you're looking for. Thanks again, VEVOR Tools. You guys have helped me a lot. So as you guys know, I didn't tighten the tie rod and jam nuts, and that was on purpose. I'm going to show you guys how I do an eyeball alignment. A couple things you want to make sure of before doing an alignment on the car. Making sure all the suspension components are in good condition and there's no play, nothing's wobbling, everything's nice and tight. Secondly, and mostly overlooked, I think, is tire pressure. You want to make sure the tire pressure is set equally amongst all the tires because that's going to change the balance of how the car is sitting on the ground. Find a very open space that has the most level ground that you can find. And then when you drive forward, you know, in my case, the steering wheel is going to turn. So what I like to do is turn the wheel straight, roll forward just a little bit. That'll help the tires also even out. And I'll stop it right here. Then get out of the car. And I like to stand from the front and look at it from the side and compare it to the rear wheel. So I'm not sure if you guys can tell in the video, but it looks to me that this front wheel is turned in ever so slightly. So what we need to do is shorten that tie rod end. Shortening the tie rod end length will bring in the rear of the wheel, helping it become more straight. So since it's on the ground and I can't reach it, I'm going to turn the wheel all the way to the left. I have my size here that I need, 14. Okay, we spun it a few turns. We're gonna straighten the wheel, drive forward a little bit, and then recheck it. Basically, this is the entire process, just doing this over and over again. And then we'll get to the other side after. All right, move forward, wheel straight. That's definitely much closer. Could still pull it in just a little bit more. So I'm going to do that and finish this side up. All right, I've gotten this side straightened out to my liking. Looks super good. Now let's start the other side. All right, this one looks like the front is pointing out more than the rear. So the wheel looks like it is slightly turned like this. So what we need to do is lengthen the inner tie rod on this side, pushing it out more. So we're gonna turn the wheel all the way to the opposite side and do the same thing. It's funny because I'm doing this while it's snowing. It's really freezing, but hey man, it's essential. So if we're gonna lengthen the left side, we're gonna need to turn it to the right. Made a few more adjustments. I've got it to my liking. It's nice and straight. There are a couple different ways that you can do this. You can also use a piece of string and basically go from the front to the rear, and then from there you can see where the string is touching on the front or the rear and adjust it accordingly. And obviously nothing beats an actual alignment because you get everything specced out completely. But on this car, caster is not adjustable, and that is the one factor that is almost impossible to eyeball. You almost always need a machine for that. But after doing so many alignments in my career, I'm able to just eyeball it and get it straight enough to my liking. So yeah, luckily now it's nice and straight. Do you guys have any special ways that you guys align your cars? Let me know in the comments. I'm interested to hear what you guys do. Look at what happened to this poor car. So as you see, there is a towel over this power steering line. Why is there a towel there, you ask? Well, this power steering line decided to crap itself out, and it leaked all the power steering fluid onto the alternator. Our new power steering hose came in, and just by looking at it, this fitting here looks a little bit large compared to the original. So I'm in the process of taking off the end here, just so I can verify that they're the same size before I go through the process of taking it completely off the car and then realizing I have the wrong line. Yep. Oh, it looks the same to me. Well, I guess we're gonna have to jack the car up, get under there, and slap this thing on there. Oh yeah, nice and oily under here. Fitting is a 14 millimeter. I've already cracked it loose with the line wrench, and it's all the way up here. I can't even reach it with one hand. Not even a quarter turn at a time. This line is kind of rusty, so every time I turn it, it's kind of cracking a little bit more. So this could get really messy. It appears that the line has cracked off of the fitting, which since we're replacing it, that's a good thing. Now I can just slide a 14 millimeter socket on there, or even just this ratcheting wrench, and then just get it the rest of the way off without having to do it a quarter turn at a time. Oh yeah, that's much better. Got the fitting out. We have the line completely out of the car. Before I just go slap this new line in, I always like to verify that the part looks correct, or at least close enough. So right off the bat, I'm noticing this fitting right here. So this is where the power steering pressure switch goes, right in there. And that is what this guy is. The bends on this line look very similar to the bends on the original line. And they have the new gasket O-ring, which goes on here. Check out the one that was on here. Smooshed, not good. That's actually an AC O-ring. I put that on there because the last one completely dry rotted out and it was like squirting fluid out. So that worked for the time being, but definitely not the correct way to do it. That's all right, we're finally fixing it how we should. And this is honestly the coolest thing. They included this little plug in this kit, and I think that goes into this pressure switch hole in case you don't have a switch, or if your switch broke and you're like, dang, what am I gonna do? They include the plug just in case. Now I'm still gonna attempt to put the switch on there And if you're not familiar with what this switch does, basically if you're at low RPM and you turn the steering wheel, that switch will detect pressure loss or gain and will kick the RPM of the engine up, which will then raise the RPM of the power steering pulley here, which gives you more power steering power. That's what that does. If you didn't know, you technically don't need to run that, but and you turn the steering wheel, the car will bog more than stabilize, if that makes sense. Well, I guess I can take this rag out of here finally. Oh, it's dripping power steering fluid. Quarter turn at a time. Hose is fully installed, just topping off the fluid. I want to level the car and then turn the wheel to the left and the right to help bleed out the empty line, and then we'll start it up and hopefully the power steering pump doesn't blow up. All right, moment of truth. A little whiny. That line is probably still filling up with fluid, trying to get all the air out of the system. Oh yeah, it's getting better. That's real nice. All right, hopefully it's not leaking. Looks good. I want to go take this to the car wash and just pressure wash all of this fluid out of here. But at the same time, maybe I won't, because now that it's winter, they're gonna salt the roads. So that is technically rust prevention. Power steering works. I think we'll just top off the fluid and call this one done. And don't forget, with every repair you do, date, mileage, and what you did. Francie and I just pulled up to the skate park, but we just realized that the tag, or the work truck, is overdue for an oil change already. So we figured, before we skate, we might as well knock that out. Ta-da! It slipped. Dark.
I know, I was just thinking that.
It's so dark. It's like the fastest oil change I've ever done.
Because there was no oil in it.
That could be part of the reason, yes.
Nah, you're just a pro oil changer.
Yeah, that's all I know how to do on these cars. Yeah, I actually went to school only so I could change oil on cars. Now we just gotta top her off. This car only takes 4 quarts, but we're gonna put 5 in. Because it's gonna burn it off within 100 miles anyways. Preventative maintenance.
Money shot.
Money shot, there you go. Alright, what should we ride today? We got the 3-ton jack, we got the skateboard.
The jack.
How many people can say they've skated their jack at a skate park? What if we did a big spin front board on the first little flat bar, some flat ground trick in between, and then switch front board, this flat bar, and then whatever happens after that happens.
Sounds good.
Well, that was nice to be able to skate again. I haven't been able to because I've been going to physical therapy still from the crash, but luckily that just ended, so I can be active again and get back into shape. I almost forgot to write down our data log here. Basic maintenance is the fundamentals to having a reliable car, and it's often overlooked. What are some strange places you guys have worked on cars? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for sticking around, guys.